Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Matchday 11 of the ESL Pro League. It's going to be our last play day of the week. We've had 4 of them. Bit of a marathon for those of us here and those of you at home, but we are almost through it all. Still some great games to come. I'm here with Janko and Sadakist. Looking down the barrel of the week that was, we've definitely had some interesting games and not all that we would have expected if we predicted.
Yeah, a lot of split matches as well. Teams going 1-1. Hellraisers taking a map off of Fnatic. That was probably the biggest upset we had this week. And yeah, now we get to see NaVi back in Pro League.
And Sadakist as well, we saw that interesting result between Virtus.Pro and Penta early on in the week as well. A lot of people wouldn't, even though people have said VP not performing as well online, still maybe wouldn't have expected that.
No, and I don't think we did either, in all honesty, coming into that. We know that Virtus.Pro, as you said, struggles online, but I think in the first game of the series, they actually comfortably took it, and then they turned around and got beat by them. It's similar to the Hellraisers Fnatic story in just, again, splitting series. And for Virtus.Pro, look, that's an improvement over last season, but still they need to find these wins against teams at the lower end of the scale if they want to actually make it through to the LAN, not just survive the season, if you will. Ultimately, that's still an improvement from last year. I can't stress that enough.
That's right, and we do bring it up fairly often that Virtus.Pro are in a far better spot they were previously, but you can't split every series. Eventually, you're not going to have enough wins, or conversely, too many losses to really qualify yourself for the playoff bracket. But let's recap, of course, last night's matches for you guys there as well, as we did have some interesting ones there as well. Virtus.Pro and Dignitas, we kicked off with, gents, their mirrored scorelines across the 2 maps. A very different VP we saw across these 2 maps.
Yeah, definitely, and just as Matt pointed out in that Penta game, really dominant on Dust 2, which is, not a map VP is famous for, and then on Mirage, which is supposed to be their playground, they get pretty much stomped by Dignitas. They could only get 1 round on the T side, I believe, so it was pretty surprising how the level of play really changed in just a matter of minutes.
Yeah, and Mirage as well for Virtus.Pro. It seems to be one of the more stable maps for them over their history. It's not a map that I would say they've ever been dominant on per se, but again, for most of the European teams, top teams, they've all had to play Mirage enough that they should be able to put up better numbers than that. That's just a bad day in the office, or bad game, I should say, considering, like you said, they won the Dust 2 map just before that. So it's still an issue for Virtus.Pro, this consistency that seems to plague them in many situations.
Yep.
Again, if they can get to LANs, they usually perform there, but this is the most cutthroat LAN, I think even more so than a major, where they have a legendary status, obviously, and some teams carry that over. This is one of the most cutthroat LANs to qualify for. Only 4 teams out of this amount of talent from each division. It's pretty shocking.
Yeah, it's shaped very, very thin there as well. And moving on to the second bracket of games there as well. Just to notice that last panel between Mousesports and G2 actually was a 16-6 victory for G2. Mousesports only getting 1 round in that second half. Another split series, another situation, guys, where we've seen Mousesports generally flourish on cash, or at least they managed to take advantage of that weaker CT side from G2, but then they were nowhere to be seen on Dust 2, especially in the second half.
Yeah, for sure, and also G2, I mean, in the first half, as we see the scoreline in the half was 10-5. That was G2 winning 10 rounds on the CT side, which was really surprising, seeing how they were, faltering on the CT side throughout Pro League and just in the previous map on Cash.
And I think the biggest contribution in that is that it was Smith's sizzle. I don't want to harp on him too much, but it's Dust 2. He's more consistent on that, and if you look at some of the rounds, there was a 1 versus 3, I think, that he actually won on top of the A site. There was a couple other moments where he hit some big shots, took the mid fight a couple of occasions. He's more dynamic on that map, and he's actually finding picks, and that's actually a big part of the win. I mean, if you look at Cash, again, he was non-existent in so many ways, and in my opinion, Cash, you cannot play without a CT side op.
And we definitely delivered Smiths a challenge, I think, between those 2 games as well. We pointed out, I think he had 3 frags in the first half, I think, against Mousesports in that first map, and we did deliver the challenge. We said we need to see more from him, but you're right, I think Smiths is generally more consistent on Dust 2. We were able to see more from his play. So, another split series, 2 1-1s for the evening there, gents. Let's have a look at how that affected the standings, though, for this season. As now things, well, they're starting to materialize a little bit more for us. You can definitely see some front runners here. One thing everyone should keep their eyes on at home is NaVi. I've only played 4 games and haven't lost any yet, so that 5th position could very well change quite soon there. But again, Flipside are languishing down towards the bottom, and NIP in a good position as well to jet up towards that top side.
Definitely so. I mean, NaVi, they were on this boot camp kind of thing with SK, you know, it wasn't that much of a competition, but you know, if you have 5 guys together in one spot, then you know any practice you get is probably going to be more productive than if you're just playing online, which is what NaVi needs right now with the roster change. Of course, they want to integrate Simple as fast as they can, and you know, starting 4-0 and now having a game against a weaker opponent, I mean, than some in Flipside, this is a great chance for them to start off 6-0.
And we'll talk a little bit more about NaVi's lead up into this game as well in just a moment, because we do need to show you guys what matches are coming up tonight. We still got 4 maps coming straight out of the ballpark here. It will be NaVi versus Flipside up first here, and then we'll be moving on to Mouse Sports versus NIP to close things up here. Not a great map pool for Mouse Sports, but we can dip into that one a little bit later, guys. Let's talk about this one now a little bit more. NaVi have been on boot camp. I think it was Starix who actually said that they only really got like 8 or 9 maps of practice done at this boot camp. So I don't really know how effective it has been, but I mean, is that kind of the situation where you want to be integrating that new player in a boot camp environment? A lot easier, surely.
I mean, this is not your classic boot camp, right? It was more of a media marketing, sponsor stuff, right? But even though if you're all there, you know, you talk about CS and you're more focused when you play at least, I'm sure that they wanted to try out some new stuff against SK. So ideally, they would have just boot camp perhaps, you know, back home somewhere where they could only focus on CS. But it looked good for NaVi so far, what we've seen from them.
And
well, I was going to say, you saw the round differential. NaVi, I think, has plus 28 in rounds won, and so obviously rounds won versus rounds lost. So if you do the math on that, they've won 4 games, 64 rounds won. That means they've only lost, I think, what's that, 36? That's the average of like, well, it's average of like 16-10, 16-11. I haven't done the full conversion on that, but basically they've been winning the games convincingly as well, is the point. It's not even like they've had any real challenging competition. There might have been, when you look at the actual maps, a little bit different than that portrays, but it says they've been comfortable, and they're the only team not to lose a game. They should be, in my opinion, the top of this league right now. They're the team that's the most on form. Even SK is off on the North American side. They have a chance at world #1 with this new roster, and I think that they're going to be more motivated than ever. I think Simple is going to bring that sort of spark to them, and I think tonight, continuing on, this is another situation where I won't say easily, but convincingly could go 2-0.
Well, I mean, NaVi have won all of their games by an average of 7 rounds, so that is definitely some maths we can throw out. That's a big win, of course, for you. Here are your rosters. I mean, we talked a little bit about Flipside earlier on. I think we saw them earlier on in the week. Looked at sort of how World Edit was playing into that sort of situation again. So, I've read again, Starix has been saying that look, we're an established team. NaVi, we've been around for a while as this roster. I mean, you know, minus Zeus now. So Simple has to fit into our team. We're not going to give him the AWP. He's going to be the secondary AWPer, and he probably won't get it all that often here. Is that a wise decision for you? Would you sort of agree with that kind of mindset when it is the dynasty that is NaVi?
Yeah, well, I think more than anything else, it's dependent on positions, and we could see on Dust2, for example, right? Simple is playing the A bomb side on the CT side with Guardian. Obviously, Guardian will be the primary AWPer in that situation, and then the secondary AWPer has to be someone who's playing on the other side of the map, which is Seized, and he traditionally was the secondary AWPer for NaVi and performed pretty well at that position. Maybe on the T side, if they sometimes decide to go for double up, you know, that's maybe when Simple can step up and play with it, but it seems that more than anything else, he's just going to rifle in NaVi.
So we've got NaVi on one side, we've got what people have named as mini NaVi here going head to head. What are the similarities and differences? First of all, why are we calling him mini NaVi? And why is it that Flipside struggles so much against their big brothers, as it were?
Well, I was going to say, the mini NaVi part, just to touch on it, I mean, they've got Markelov, who used to be a long-time player, and you know, 1.6 NaVi, and even the start of some of CSGO. Astana Dragons was in there, of course, but essentially they've carried over from that Astana Dragons, and you had Simple coming out of Flipside, then the sort of the tenure in Liquid, and now back to NaVi, and they're both Ukrainian teams. They both play, I think, predominantly out of the cybersports arena, or the cyber arena in Kiev, whenever they boot camp. So in that sense, they're just very closely related, and they're both quite tactical in the fact that Blade is a very tactical in-game leader as well.
I think that's where they're the most similar, and you call it a poor man's NaVi because their playstyles are similar, but NaVi for one has much better players in their lineup. I mean, more skilled. They have more firepower, and they're just mostly because of that, they are, you know, better at executing that particular style. Because when you look at it, they both like to play a lot out of defaults on the T side, get map control, and then go for executes, right? But it's hard to be consistent with it if sometimes your players just don't get the kills, right? The execution and the strategies are there to give you an advantage when it comes to entering a bomb site or going into duels. But sometimes even with an advantage, you know, they don't execute properly. So I think that's the main reason why people call them a poor man's NaVi.
So on the individual level, even if you're trying to play up with a default or something like that, and you're mismatched against your opponents, then it's going to be harder to consistently sort of execute that.
Definitely.
We didn't get to talk about this at the start, actually. I do want to talk about now NaVi minus Zeus and plus Simple. I want to know if it's Simple comes in and plugs the gap or just sort of fills that role. They pick up where they left off before Zeus left. Does he replace Zeus? In what way does that happen? Or does he bring something even newer to the table here?
I think he brings something much different. I don't think Simple's ever going to be a carbon copy of another player and plugged into a role. He might get some of those same positions, but there's no way stylistically he's going to play it the same. We know Simple likes to take risks. It's actually one of the drawbacks that I think Lurpus has touched on. I think everyone's touched on. You've probably mentioned it, I'm sure, if you go back and look, that he needs to sort of evaluate risk factors, I guess you could say, when to push, when not to. And he's getting better at that, but you're never going to take that out of his game. And I think that's the best part of his game in many ways, because when it works, it's beautiful. It gets rounds that you shouldn't get, or it gets you into rounds you shouldn't even be in by finding opening picks. So in that sense, no, there's no way he's going to go in and play the exact same style. But I think he does bring something that they almost needed in that sense. Flamey is very consistent. Guardian's an incredibly quick op. Now they've got another rifle player that can really step up and find these big opening situations and kind of take rounds at the early stages.
I think the problem he had initially in Liquid this year is similar to what we referenced when we were talking about Oscar yesterday, right? That you being the star player in a weaker team, you know, you have to do most of the work by yourself, right? You have to always go for those opening, create opportunities for your team. But then after you move firstly in Liquid and now especially in NaVi, that's not required of you anymore. I mean, you have a good structure in the team. The team is not dependent on you to make plays. You have players like Guardian, Flamey, Zeus, Edward, and Seized. Anyone can make a play, right? So for him, it's just taking a step back, pretty much, you know, giving more confidence to his teammates.
We've said that these two teams, Flipside and NaVi, have a similar style or a similar approach to a lot of these games. Obviously, Simple didn't work out in Flipside. You know, is it possible that this kind of player who maybe isn't good at judging those risk factors and wants to go out and make these plays, does he get stifled in this kind of leadership or in this kind of roster where, you know, everyone is sort of being nailed down to their roles and they expect him to do this and play that secondary AWPer role? You know, are we going to see that the talent of this player sort of diminish because he's being given the standing orders every time he plays?
I don't think so. I think the major, the performance in Liquid at the major, I think it was a good example of how Simple can work in a system of sorts, and if he has a specific role, right? Because you could see Nitro and Elish going in first, creating space, JDM staying back with the AWP, and Simple had freedom in that sense that he wasn't required to do anything in particular. So around the rest of his team, he had some freedom, and it worked really well for Liquid. I think the way that the roles worked in that particular lineup was probably the main reason why they were able to make it all the way to the grand finals.
And I think that's been an evolution of understanding Simple as much as anything, though. If you look at Flipside, I think that, look, back then he was probably more toxic than he was even now, and I think he does still carry that. I think in NaVi he'll tone it down. He respects them a lot more. But even in his Liquid time, he was hard to deal with. I know during boot camps there was certain players on Liquid that would just pull their hair out by the end of 3 or 4 hours practicing because they just felt like they were talking to a brick wall at times. He's very stubborn in that sense. So to go back, reverse to that is what you're saying. I agree. I think Liquid and NaVi will use him correctly because they understand that now. People see that in him and see the potential that he brings and the individual skill set that he has. But when he was in Flipside, yeah, he was very contained. He was the secondary AWPer. World Edit, similar to Kusta when he was on Liquid, wasn't really hitting shots. He was showing inconsistency. He's a guy, by the way, that I think you have to focus on if you want success from this Flipside team right now. He has to step up in that capacity. But Simple kind of overtook him and said, I'm just going to take the op at times. And that caused some inner turmoil. And then when you do have a guy like Blade who is very structured, he doesn't feel like he's controlling the reins anymore, and you know the horse starts to run away without the cart, and it becomes a bit of an issue in that sense. I think now, again, evolution is the thing. People understand how Simple's going to work, and NaVi will not suffer that same problem.
So heading in towards this game now, let's talk about Flipside. Obviously, you talked about having a similar style, but maybe pound for pound not being as high a quality a team as NaVi. What are the boxes they need to check here in these next couple of maps as well? If they're going to overcome a team that plays so similarly to them, what are the keys to victory?
Yeah, that's the problem. When you're a weaker team, you have fewer options available to you to win, right? If you have Simple on your team, sometimes he will just win around pretty much by himself with a couple of crazy headshots. But for Flipside, more than anything else, I think they will be well prepared, even though NaVi didn't play a lot of games, but they know the style in general. So for them, it's have to be up to trying to find a way to disrupt their play, and more than anything else, they have to be on point individually. I know it sounds like, you know, we keep repeating that a lot, but with players like World Edit, we saw how he can be inconsistent. And Blade, in an interview, I remember him saying that he believes that the Opera is the main player in any team, right? That he is the most important player. You need to work around him. He's the one who can have the most impact. So considering all of that, they are really good at moving the Op around on overpass, especially. I think that they need to start off strong to be able to fend off NaVi.
I actually agree with what Blade says in a lot of ways, because if you think about it, when you start a round, you might be, the Opera may not be the top fragger on every team, and you might be losing an individual battle to another rifler, and personally you're thinking, okay, I've got to win this, but first thing you ask yourself is, where's the op? Let's identify where the other team's op is, because it is such a threat in that regard. So, I mean, Blade's, I think, dead on in saying that. And I think that just, to further that point, I think that goes all the way to matchmaking. I'm sure everyone watching's had that experience. When they hear the shot come out, where's that op? How do we deal with it?
Well, you have a little bit of a setup here into this game, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, not perhaps a rosy future ahead for Flipside in terms of this game. I think they're definitely going to be up against the wall here. We talked about lack of win conditions here as well. We're going to have to just see strong individual performances across the board from these guys if they're going to challenge out NaVi at their own game. At this stage, we're pretty much ready to jump into game, ladies and gentlemen, but they are just rejigging a few things server-wise. So we're going to take this opportunity to show you our top community plays of the week.
Sorry for the delay, guys. All is resolved. We'll be back underway any second now. Train, as said, will be the first map here between NaVi and Flipside. I'm joined by Natu. What are your thoughts on this one? Because this is a good map, good matchup. Should be fun.
It should be fun for NaVi.
Yeah, let's be honest, NaVi in fine form here. We have seen Flipside actually challenge. Now, before, you know, you get those domestic matchups, things get a little bit closer. Yeah. But NaVi are in quite fine form.
Yeah, they are, and they've always had this little edge over all Flipside, and it's a fair assessment as to what Desk was saying there about the the mini NaVi and the actual NaVi. The difference is that they do still have a very similar style in play, but NaVi just has better individuals.
Yep, the firepower is there. It's even gotten bigger soon, better. You know, the recent addition of Simple is just, why not add even more to this mixture of fantastic play? But we are live into this, and it looks like actually we've got a bit of a plan coming out from NaVi as well. A couple of pieces of utility very early purchased into this one, so curious how they play it out.
Edward has become the raid boss. He has to take on an armor as well. So we'll see how this plays out. It's going to be a very slow start here. Just a bit of scouting here going on from NaVi. I think World Edit might be getting some action here early on, though sieged.
A little bit of a trade back and forth, and there it is. What did it finding Flamey's could be good for him? Get himself building up into this. A player that often is looked at to provide a lot of the firepower that seems on occasion to be lacking from Flipside, especially in comparison to NaVi, of course. So far, it gets off to a good start. There could be something to be seen here. However, still a lot more to be played with. NaVi now down to 4. They still have all their utility players at least standing, so Guardian can still put that smoke out. You can still put C smoke into play, and it looks like a B here. Try and get that bomb plant.
Yeah, a couple of smokes coming in, and then they're going to try to plow all the way towards that CT spawn. As we can see, they're going to be deep smokes as well. So I'm sure Edward is going to be the one leading the way here, and they're going to be aggressive.
And on the other side, Markloff and Charo are already on the B site. So they're going to be there pretty quickly. Waylander, Blade, all coming through. But look at it, as you said, they're going to be pushing through. And it's Simple actually getting right around the back. But by this time, 2 kills. Blade get 3 kills have come in. Now Simple has to do it all. The bomb is planted. And that is way too many players for him to handle on his own. And a very comfortable defuse here for Flipside. But you know, credit where it's due to Flipside. Very clean start, well played out. You know, you saw World Edit kick things off there, and Blade coming through on that B side.
Yeah, that for NaVi, that was basically what they wanted to do first, was trying to get an opening somewhere, and then having those 2 smokes on a flash to play with, they then decide on which side they're gonna attack after. After, if they let's say they would have made it a 5-on-4, they might have done a different strategy there. Instead, they went inside. This is a good hole from Flipside, really. That flash was the MVP, really, that stopped the actual push, the aggressive push there.
This is looking quite good so far for Flipside. You know, NaVi's T-side on train is something to always keep your eyes on. Renowned for having very, very nice pieces to put out on this one. Again, their pacing, their approach always worked well. And of course, Guardian. You know, it's hard to get away from that factor. He's a win condition among, of his own. And, well, it looks like it's going to go for that B hit again. More often than not, you will get a plant out of it, as the bomb site is so close by, so you don't have to commit everything to just getting even close to it. They should be able to get this one going. Shara, though, maybe under pressure here, actually. Pretty isolated, but he's doing wonders there. Joined in the end by Markloff, so actually this bomb plant might not even happen.
Probably won't have Edward, the last guy. He's going to go down too. So that's NaVi trying to get a bomb plant with a minimal investment of 1 smoke grenade. Doesn't work out this time around. So they will have a little bit less money here, but they are going to be going a full buy. In the third, no op in play though. but AKs across the board. A bunch of smokes to work with. No Molotovs, though, to be noted. But as long as you have the smokes, that gives you a lot of opportunities when it comes to executes on train.
And NaVi, you know, play very well out of the default. It's discussed more often than not how good they are at this map as well. But Flipside will know this. They are sparring partners on occasion. They'll, of course, practice against each other numerous amounts of times, and they know each other well enough here. But if you're Flipside, you'd certainly look at NaVi more than NaVi will be looking at Flipside. So this could work out well for them in that theory, but theories aside, that doesn't always apply. So now Wilder needs to back away. He's lost out a little bit of control towards Ivy, but at the moment, NaVi's still just playing through, not necessarily standard default, but you know, 3 players over towards B already here.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, they were trying to look what's going on in alley, and Simple was sent towards the inner bomb site to see if there's any aggression from Flipside. But nothing's really been found for NaVi so far. They're going to have to go with this in a 5-on-5 situation. Minute left on the clock. They only have 2 smokes anymore, so that kind of hinders their opportunities going outside. As we can see, they are gathering towards the inner bomb site that is occupied by 2 CTs already.
Yeah, not going to be particularly easy to break into at this point. Simple's already stepping out towards upper, seeing for this maybe an AWP playing off, you know, somewhere around those lines. Markloff's starting to get an idea of what's coming, but now sees straight through the smoke, just basically barrels through and finds it. Perfectly done. They don't expect Shara, though, to be on the side still with that UMP. So NaVi are not out of the woods just yet, but that is a brilliant addition. Edward takes down Shara, which opens up the bomb plant now. That can go in, but taking a couple of fights here and there has brought this back to a 2v2 and make it a 2v1. Ordered it up top. Gonna catch a shot, and C's can't get away from that one. So again, Plant comes in, but this was a buy round. It got close, but Flipside win the first gun round too.
Yeah, it's very hard to hold on inner bomb site when you cannot get that, when you can't get aggressive on that bomb site. So you want to be sure you get into towards the CT spawn, and that makes your retake that much harder. And so this time around, Flipside manages to retake the bomb site, get the defuse, and 3-0 scoreline.
Yep, it's a good start, let's be very honest here. Being pretty clean as well, haven't lost out on much. Their money's looking better and better round by round. Haven't quite got that full buffer yet, but a couple more rounds and it certainly will be there. 3.6 already sitting on a couple of players. That's pretty nice for them. NaVi yet to really break into it. They're getting the plants, they're getting in towards B. We haven't seen that kind of really well-constructed A hit yet. Has to be seen. Oh, and this is different now. Flipside. Or at least Shara, should I say, going for that early little bit of a linger, a little bit of a peek there. I think he might have got an idea as to what's coming his way, but if he overstays his welcome, there's Simple just around that corner, desperate to get an opportunity like this. So Shara's going to back away. You start to get that feeling. You start to hear it. You start to feel that pressure building up, and sometimes playing one of these solo-side players, you have to be aware of this being a factor, because here comes NaVi. Everything's been put down. The utility is in place, but Markloff and Shara play it out well, and actually, Shara just about staying alive there. That molly could have done a lot more if the smoke didn't come in at the right time, but the bomb yet to be planted in the hands of Simple, and Guardian pushing forward.
Solid job from Flipside so far. Keeping their distance to make sure that those Tech 9s cannot be super effective. However, that means NaVi is going to get that bomb plant, but now it's all down to Flamey. You know, 1-on-5 with a Tech 9 before the 3rd train. I don't think he's going to have much of a chance here. And there you have it. Markelov's going to get that final kill. 4-0 scoreline, and this exactly is what Flipside needed, though. This is going to be that little buffer your discussion about previously, that they get to build. And
they've even got a fair amount of utility left over. This is brilliant from Flipside, I've got to say. Not getting caught out yet, not being put through their paces. I think it can change once you get that AWP in. Of course, NaVi can play off the back of picks now that maybe Guardian can provide.
Yeah,
let's go for those all-in hits.
We've only seen one actual buy round from NaVi. Even then, no AWP, like you said, and still a little bit limited on the equipment part. But Flipside's been smart about, not overextending in the first minute of the round, not trying to make a play to give NaVi a possibility to make that entry and make a 5-on-4 situation. Instead, they've maintained until the later part of the round, and NaVi hasn't been able to execute so far.
I'm enjoying this so far, but as you highlighted, only one gun round. But Guardian, first man in towards lower, just peeks in, tries a bit of a shot, and, well, that's the problem. There's the other side of things. For Flipside, now they've lost out on that B Guardian. Now he's gone down. There's no one else to really stop it instantly, so that plant's going to come in, and this is the first time NaVi have been working with a very clean advantage. That's the Guardian effect coming out, thinning down those CT numbers now. 5v3. It's not looking likely here for Flipside on the retake. Definitely not. It's going to be super hard. Even the 3rd guy right now is still on guard, but Waylander's making his way towards the bomb side, and Walden gets a frag as well. But Edward is going to neutralize the situation. That's how to blame World at it. More still on action, and, well, Walden should have hit that shot. Not able to. That pretty much seals the deal here, and finally NaVi is going to be on the board. That was a
well, NaVi basically just throwing a lot of nades outside and then surprising Shara inside. Guardian trying to, like you said, had a bit of a cheeky player just jumping down the low ramp, but eventually with Edward, who made his way through the higher ramp, gets the entry kill.
Yeah, and he got 4 as well. 3 off the back of that entry, of course.
That's a pretty solid effort.
Really nice stuff from Edward individually. And Guardian was the one who found the player coming through connector. So 4-1 so far. NaVi going to keep this one looking a bit more competitive than it was starting to look like. And now Shara, he wants to get this info. He's been trying it on occasion. This time, they've got that utility now. They can stop this sort of play. They can do whatever they want now, NaVi. They've got a little bit more freedom to play on this one, but here come the exchanges. Here comes the possible first little bit of a back and forth. One being welded at, being challenged down by Ivy, or at least kept on his toes. He can't quickly rotate now. He has to keep his mind that they could be doing a split towards B through CT. They could just be waiting outside of A main. You never know where they're going. So again, NaVi keeping options open.
As we can see, the bomb is still in T-spawn, so this is basically NaVi just trying to create an opening again. Just trying to force an opening kill on the round, and then make a decision on what they want to do. Again, Simple going to be the man going toward the inner, and you have Guardian there as well. Doing a bit of a cheeky boost, but Shara is playing with the idea of pushing here from higher. If the timing's correct, this could be very good for Shara. Does get the opening kill, and decides to evade.
And nice from him to not outstay there, not to stay too long, get the chance of being traded back in on instantly. Falls away now, NaVi look like they're going to go for an A hit. You've got Edward down by Pop, you've got Flamey, Guardian kind of coming together as well. But the thing is that Flipside still have the 3 players here. Blade's going to be watching Ivy this time. You've got Waylander and Welded watching towards Pop and T-Con. So let's see what they can do. Blade going to flash out. That's actually caught Seas perfectly. Fully flashed, but he doesn't see him. Doesn't check wide enough, and now gets punished. Seas comes through, and this starts to look a bit more interesting here. You're going to start seeing the push and the pull. The CT's being pulled left, right, and center, but Seas gets caught on the cross, but clears out close. Nicely played by him, and now NaVi starting to look dominant, but the time, 10 seconds left here.
Yeah, that's very Navi-esque, isn't it? They do get the bomb plant, though, but he's down to 11 HP in a 2-on-2 situation. That might make it a little bit more tricky for Navi. But what a way to even get on that bomb side. Didn't seem very possible, but in a very Navi fashion, they make it happen. And that's up to Markelov and Shara to get this defuse going. Well, that's going to help things. Flamey goes down. It's all down on Cease now, who has that 11 HP.
Doesn't have it anymore. There we go. Markelov nicely does it on the retake. Both of them playing very well there. But as you said, that round felt like it came suddenly into the hands of NaVi. It was like, well, okay, this was pretty good for Flipside, and then
all down to the situation where Blade just didn't check Ali properly, and then sees to penalize him. He got the kill, and all of a sudden it was a 3-on-3 situation, and they get the bomb plant in the last 10 seconds, as per usual for NaVi. But still, it's going to be a Flipside picking that one up, and NaVi's. Well, they still have money to buy on this one, but should they lose this round here, they'd be in trouble. Still an off for Guardian, though. Simple with the Tech 9.
Yeah, still to be seen from these two. Guardian quickly getting to Pop, though. This could be a little bit different here. He's not gone this quickly before. It's been that kind of slower play, more methodical. Oh, and that's a big punish there from Waylander. I think he just caught a glimpse of him trying to step out, and the player model gave it all away, pretty much. Can't do much more than that. Good stuff from Waylander. We haven't seen Flipside having to kind of resort to further play just yet. You know, the pushing up aggressively. Blade now is pushing a little closer towards Pop. Try and keep maybe that AWP safe. It did almost return into the hands of an RV member, but no. Simple got found in the end, and we're down to this 5v3. Really well held by Flipside so far.
Yeah, again, it's going to be a 5-on-3 advantage for them before Seeds gets a say. Gets that one kill. I think World Edit just saw the hand of Seeds there, and that also is going to neutralize Flamey. Oh, in the end, it's going to be Seeds going down. And now it's all not a Edward anymore.
What?
It's just NaVi going down 1 by 1 so far. They're not able to. They're not able to trade effectively.
This is quite strange to see. You know, it's still a CT-sided map. You can see a lot of teams often getting a good run of CT rounds on this, but NaVi don't normally tend to agree with that. They're a very strong T-side.
Yeah, and I mean, the big thing right now is that Flipside is not giving entries. NaVi's not able to generate anything, and then they'll end up with that 45-30 second mark where they'll have to make a decision based off of basically nothing. They'll just have to be guessing what they want to do.
Gamble,
yeah, in a 5-on-5 situation or in a 4-on-5 situation, which is even worse. So they're not making themselves a lot of favors, and on the other side, Flipside just playing it really well.
And this is the thing you do occasionally see between these teams. They do have these much closer matchups than you'd ever say on paper as to how they equate to each other, just purely from that kind of statistical approach, right? NaVi would always be the better team over Flipside if you looked at any sort of way of clarifying that, you know, LAN wins, player skill, whatever you want to go for.
Yeah.
But when these two meet up, it's always interesting to watch. They know each other so well, and it is a tactical pause. So NaVi need to find a way to get those entries. They need to find a way to start this one up, or just, you know, which side hits do we need to go for? How can we make them feel uncomfortable? How can we do anything on the T side here?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, I think it was in E-League where they had a pretty close trend, like 16-13 for NaVi in the end. So it's not unheard of that Flipside would be able to be very competitive against NaVi. Like you said, these domestic battles are always kind of a question mark on their own. A lot of things, you know, the players just know each other so well. You know, they obviously know each other's play styles very well. So there's always going to be those little mini games within the game that people are going to be doing when they know who they're playing against in a one-on-one or, you know, in those situations. So that's what makes it even more interesting.
The thing is, they have met on this map quite a lot. Let's not dispute that. This is an often repeated sort of marker. This is something they'll come back in on play almost every time, because it works for both their map pools. It's something very similar for them, and almost a very clean eco here coming out. Just the smoke for C. So there's probably the B hit trying for that plant. And the thing is, this is what you say earlier, it's when you're a big team like NaVi is, teams will look at you, how you play, they'll try and get a couple of, you know, reads into what you like to do, how you like to approach it. But then for NaVi, do they ever do that to Flipside? Because obviously Flipside has so much material now on NaVi after playing them so many times, especially specifically on this map. So even just back in E-League, recent results. And now here comes the hit, so NaVi can be looking to get that bomb plant. Keep your eyes on that one if that happens. Shara so far doesn't like the idea of it. However, the bomb was in the hand of the Guardian. He's going to give it a good try as much as he wants, and he can't quite get it.
Well, I mean, if I want to see something different with their default, if they want to keep running that default, then they're not getting much out of Alley. Then I would like to see them put some more emphasis towards the inner bomb side. Just basically, you know, try to walk out of upper, for example, because Shara plays that bomb side a lot alone. Just try to get that surprise on him and use Guardian. They tried to do the boost. They didn't get anything out of it. Try a higher ramp or just smoke off lower, pop flash, try to run two people in there, try to force that entry, and you can even fall back then. Or if you get the room, you can then just plow in towards CT spawn and get a lot of opportunities. Won't let it though. He's going to finally get that shot. Almost a double. Just gets one. It's going to be a trade.
That's the best he could do in that situation. He was being pressured. If only it hit that shot in the first asking. But now Blade has a wonderful position. This aggression from Flipside, this slightly pushed up spot will cut off at least one of the approaches, but he's bailed out there in the end. Guardian saves the day, taking down Blade, removing that factor and allowing the likes of Flamey to be unleashed and to get the final kill. So NaVi finally switched something up.
Yeah,
then for that three-man playthrough, Ivy quickly, really nice bounce back.
Exactly, there's a yard, fast yard push there. This time managing to get the entry kills and trading effectively, but only to survive from NaVi, so there's going to be that risk of reset coming into this round, and as we can see, Seized only has a Galil in play, so this is going to be an all-important round in terms of how this half is going to end up going.
I wonder if NaVi just go back to the default from before. Do they try and keep switching this up? Because obviously that was the first time. Yeah, it was the first time we really saw something, you know, seem very convincing for NaVi. We didn't see that sort of power previous to then. So now while they're going to be holding the angle again, smoked off. It's rinse and repeat at this point.
Yeah, exactly. I want to see them now be a little bit more aggressive in inner bomb site. So you can see Simple is playing with the idea. He's here with Guardian. Now there's two CTs playing that bomb site. Markelov has joined Shara in there. Guardian just trying to get a spam. And again, make some damage, but obviously not finding anything. So you can see there, Shara also has made his way to higher ramp. I think he's on top of the ladder just waiting. And again, minute down, and NaVi's not able to done really anything.
Yeah, as you said, it'll normally get to about that 45-second marker. They'll have to hit a site, try and make it commit, and it looks like a bit of a fake almost for now, or at least a bit of a ruse. You got Simple walking out on B, something you wanted to see, but he didn't go up. He just went through the ramp and now gets found by Shara, and that's already the initial advantage for Flipside. Again, denying those entries for NaVi here, and they're down to 40 seconds. They have to make the hit come in soon, otherwise they're gonna be out of time. Simple as that. And there's Blade as well there, and there's Waylander standing in their way.
This is gonna be tough once again. Waylander on that bomb side. If he stays alive for long enough, then it should be hard for NaVi. But that being said, Seized with 2 kills with Galil, and Guardian to follow it up as well. And now the CTs are out of position. The bomb plant's going to go down, and somehow NaVi manages to create a round out of that.
Yeah, I don't understand how you can get around like that. You just walk in and just get 2 kills in that sort of fashion is...
With the Galil.
Exactly, with the Galil of all things. Now they've got the double up, now they have the bomb plant, and they've got it under wraps. This one is done and dusted, but I guess this is what can happen when you have such a powerful individual team,
Exactly.
but also surely Flipside had to have made errors in that at some point.
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't get to see what Cease was doing. Thanks, Rush, but...
Yeah, Rush, nice job.
Yeah, I mean, still, it's like you said, it comes down to just that individual skill. When NaVi needs that pull through, they'll have that skill to go back to. And it works out great for NaVi this time around, and they make it 2 rounds in a row. So they get away from that scare of getting a reset. And they also have 4 people alive from this round. That's going to help their cause. And as we see, Flipside right now is a little bit struggling on the money side, but they still seem to be committing into this one.
Yeah, I'm wondering when Flipside have to look at themselves and go, do we need to switch something up? Are we working fine? At the moment, they seem to be working fine.
Yeah,
it was just that individual moment.
Yeah, you cannot really start changing things over one individual moment like that. No, I mean, just play it as it is. It's been working great. You've not been giving a lot to your opponents.
There's 3 players here for NaVi. This is looking like it's a commitment towards B. They've done the same thing, throw loads of smokes towards A, try and pretend that's where we're going, but now Edward's going to give away the game. He goes down, leaving it very much up in the air at the moment for NaVi. They've only got 2 players left standing and 0 step towards any site. They've got limited utility. Simple's still got a smoke, I guess that's something. But again, this will have to come down to that insane firepower to even be competitive at this point.
Yeah, that was a really quickly nullified by his Flipside there. Also a lack of salesmen there from NaVi as well. Going out of bomb side, they threw a lot of grenades there, but just no one to sell it over. And I saw the Flamey and Simple, like you said. Simple with the op. I think he's just going to walk out maybe and try to get a kill here. But well, realistically speaking, there shouldn't be a lot for NaVi here.
By the way, he uses the nade to try and cross out, use it almost as like a mini smoke to be able to cross through there. I don't know if he was intending to do that, but that was actually quite a cool little thing. So now he's got an angle to work with, but I don't know if he's going to expect Markelov to peek into this, which he's going to do. Markelov...
No,
reason.
don't need to do that.
Absolutely no reason to do it, because you've got Flamey and Simple. These 2 individually are terrifying. They are the monsters that you do not want to unleash. So now Simple's been left to his own devices. Spots out one on the top of the train. You can make the assumption that maybe there's one in connector. Let's see how they work this out here. Oh my word, Simple almost had another shot at it. Flamey's found Waylander, but there we go. Finally, Flipside strike back. Simple's gone down, and Flamey can't do it all alone, but that got far too close for comfort. There was no need for some of that aggression coming out. Markelov taking a peek like that. Needless at that point.
Yeah, and he's one of the most experienced players on this lineup, if not the most experienced guy on the server, along with Edward. So it is, yeah, not cool to do that. You're in a 5-on-2 situation. Don't need to take risks. Now, this became a very costly round for Flipside, meaning that if they lose this one here, they'd be in a world of trouble with their economy, just because they were careless in that round. But obviously, there's testament also to Flamey and Simple, how good they're individually, what they can do out of nothing.
Yeah, you give them a thin opportunity, and they will push it as far as they can. NaVi, though, looking for a different play here, a little bit of a different approach, possibly. First time we've really seen Guardian, test through that kind of connector, trying to find a little bit of something. Can't get the boost right, actually, at the moment, so I have to go back for that one. No one's there.
The lamp was on the way.
Yeah, no one's even close to this. And you might have seen where Blade just flashed from, so maybe get an idea that Blade's playing a little bit closer than they'd like. Maybe you can make the assumption off the back that maybe someone's pushing up towards Pop. However, still keeping things up their sleeve. Well done, a great shot towards C's. That's brilliant. Already you can get the early advantage again. See Blade just peers in, gets the info that Flamey's there. Doesn't need to keep repeaking this now. He's perfectly fine. He needs to be a little bit careful about main. As you can see, Guardian and Edward getting ready to do some work, but Waylander catches out Simple, trying to come down Pop. And this is already another big beginning for Flipside.
Well, until Guardian and Edward come into play, and they get the following frags of the round, and now it's a 3-on-3 all of a sudden. Markelov here on this bomb side and walled it back in alley. Well, now it's going to be a battle here in the other bomb site. NaVi still taking their sweet time. No utility left, though. They cannot block any of the entries anymore with smokes or Molotovs, but still taking their time before planning. And not hitting that shot.
I looked on him. I don't know if it was ladder CSGO, bad aim, who knows? Could be anything at this point.
Combination of all those things.
The place you don't want to take a fight, near a ladder. 3v2 now, bomb is planted, so going to be a little bit tougher. Well, it needs something other than the ult ready to try and play on the retake, and he doesn't get it. Good shutdown from NaVi, finally showing a little bit of fire here, even though they lost out on those 2 early picks.
Yeah, exactly. This is mind-boggling. Now, how does that even work out? They didn't have anything going on, and then all of a sudden, Edward and Guardian just create openings. And now, like I said, before the previous round started, Flipside would be in a world trouble with their economy if they lost the following round, and they did. And now there's guys on their team that are basically in need of 2 ecos here.
Yeah, this has gone from... This must be a nightmare as well for an in-game leader, because what do you do with this? Cheeky little over-the-head flash there. But for someone like Blade, that's got to be infuriating, because in theory, you played it right. You've got those first 2 kills, and you've got, you know, a 5v3, that's perfect. But then... Guys, what's happening? Why are we losing this? It must be very tricky for him to find a way around.
Oh, well, it's just the fact that they were getting wrecked. That's what it is. And now Waylander with the Zeus here. Ladder waiting for a victim to come down. And that victim might be Edward.
Don't do it, Edward. You
Patiently waiting.
know what's going to happen.
Get zapped.
It's such a likely area for someone to be playing something cheesy with. You know what I mean? Be it Mag 7, whatever it is. Such a likely area.
I just want to see Edward jumping down and die off of the Zeus midair.
This is going to be Rush's observing at his prime. As soon as he looks away... Oh, and Edward's got the bomb. Would he dare?
45 seconds left. Virtually nothing's happened except for World losing some HP. And Waylander 9 HP as well. Well, here comes the push towards inner bombs. It's going to be Blade opening things up, but then Waylander, he get denied. And it's going to be an auto push in the end of the day.
Stop ruining our fun, Guardian. So we want to have... stop it, Guardian. We just want to have fun with the Zeus. I'm clearly not a fan of Zeus in this one. So, well, they're left in the 1v... Well, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. Guardian doesn't care. He's had enough today. It's like, guys, we gave him too many rounds. We need to put it right back in line.
Well, let's see what Flipside decide to do. Their Blade does have AWP money.
Oh, Waylander.
Yeah, Waylander again.
Rush.
He whips out the R8. Because why wouldn't you? Such a great weapon.
What do you have to equip that over normally? Is it...
Deagle.
So he's chosen the R8 over the Deagle. What a champion. You know? I don't care what happens this round. We're going to watch it.
I mean, considering that the Russian Deagle has been a thing for the past 10, 15 years, I'm slightly disappointed here. Look at this guy. Don't even know what to say at this point.
I know they're going B-rush, but there's a man with a silly gun. All right? It's fun.
Yep, and it's only going to
He'll
be...
rotate eventually.
Shahra's going to be here alone, but we have Markelov rotating inside as well. And Rush, you might want to get into the action now.
You can watch Shahra. I'll let it happen. Nah, he's dead now. You got to stay on Waylander. I just want to watch the R8. It's not going to happen. Markelov, don't even consider it. It's all on Waylander. Here it is. Dun, dun. If he gets a kill, I'd be really happy, to be fair. Come on, there's options galore. Nope. Great. Absolutely great. That's cool.
Why is that weapon in the game again?
Because of really good game design. And, you know, who doesn't like more pistols? You know, you had the CZ. That's not good enough. We nerfed that. We've got to get something back in that was stronger. They gave us the R8.
Great fan of the Western theme.
Yeah, maybe they just went a bit of, you know, like a John Wayne binge, and they came back to the office and were like, guys, I've got this great idea. You know what I mean? Like, it could happen.
Not sure what they're smoking. Okay. 6th round for NaVi. I mean, they've made a lot out of nothing, really. Because they've been struggling for the most of this first half. For a lot of the rounds, they've not been able to generate all too much before the 45-second mark. In fact, for a lot of it, they've actually been down 4-on-5, even 3-on-5. Then that's when the individual skill from NaVi is getting kicked in. Yeah, players like Edward, Guardian, Simple here and there, just coming in, creating the openings, making it a 3-on-3, and they'll get the bomb down and win the effort plan. That's what all it takes sometimes.
Quote unquote, NaVi, Simple is not going to be, you know, the other AWPer just yet.
No.
And here he is.
Has the R8.
That's the main thing. Like, I think his AWPing is going to be incredible because he has the R8. Oh, it could have happened.
The draw time. Too much. And now, well, This is going to be a 4-4. Bomb is still in T-spawn, so a lot of options here for NaVi to be taken. Now, this time around, they take a lot more aggressive approach towards the inner bomb side. Simple trying to make a play because they're not getting anything out of Ali. And now Edward, they are taking a peek through higher, but you're going to see Markelov. He's going to actually hit him through as well. Now 20 HP, and here comes a platform low round. Great reaction from NaVi, but Waylander doing heavy lifting here with 2 kills before going down. And now it becomes a 2-on-2.
Yeah, huge amounts of damage to pull this one back to what could be a manageable round at least, but the damage is going to come through. Waylander is not sitting pretty anymore. That's 17 HP, but he's making it work with Blade. This is fine. Now C's left in the 1v2, but he's got the spot and he's holding this one down. Will he dare step in towards World Edit? Surely not advisable at this point.
Oh, well, look at the flash, would you? He's just trying to bait a shot from World Edit before committing now. He finds a free lane, and it's becoming really tight for World Edit to do anything about it because he has no kit.
Yeah, no kit. Running out of time there in the end. And as you said, the fact is that Flipside had a huge beginning in this. Tactically, they were on point. They were absolutely and utterly playing this one to a bit of a T. However, they're still NaVi. You know, they find ways to fall, themselves back into the game. It was, after them giving themselves such opportunities. Flipside were getting the first 2 kills, and then NaVi still got the round.
Yeah, that's how frustrating it can get. I mean, you're playing well, you're denying your opponent entry kills, you're playing passive enough, and then once they try to really force the kills to you, you get the first kills. And still, somehow, your opponent comes up with 7 rounds.
Yeah, 8-7 on the half. It's a close one, guys, but do stay tuned. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back, guys and girls. We'll be getting this one underway nice and quickly. The first half, however, did end up being far closer than what it initially started to look like. I was thinking, all right, Flipside have turned up today. We've got a bit of a game on our hands. And then NaVi, well, they had enough of their little brother running away with it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, well, it must be really frustrating for Flipside. I mean, it could have been easily at least a 10-5. It could have been a 12-3 half at best. And now we'll have to manage with only having 8 at halftime. But now we are live here, but pissed around, and I think we're lacking some in-game sounds, but
there they are.
Oh, there they are. They're just slightly
it.
behind schedule.
Yeah, as soon as you mention it, it just happens.
Magic, how that works. Blade with a set of nades. Everyone else with armors and Glocks here for Flipside, and it's very similar to what we saw in the first push round as well. Flipside just playing like a default, trying to get an entry here. One of these two clocked in alley, but not finding all too much. Just making, well, receiving more damage than dealing.
And I'm waiting to see when Blade actually puts his smoke into play and he actually starts to go into it, because I don't expect much to happen before that, as he was meant to be, you know, playing this role. So he's going to smoke out, allow them to kind of get out of main, play wherever they want to. Now they've got a good bit of a shot at it. They can cross up, but get those Glocks to a range where they can actually compete with the USPS. This gun, of course, does really reign supreme at that sort of range, but Waylander has his own ways. Finding Simple, finding Guardian, and bringing it back to an incredibly favorable round already for Flipside. Bomb goes down, and this is lovely stuff from Waylander so far, but it's now Flamey in the 1v4, outnumbered, outgunned, and should be outdone here, but he's not going down without a fight. This is good stuff from him. Waylander's down to 23, he got the tag towards Shara, and he does have a kit, but no armor, and the smoke now being utilized. It's gonna be tough, and there you go. Waylander with 4, and a big impression into the first round in the second half.
Yeah, Flipside once again coming out strong here. Went for that pick on alley first, not managed to create much, and Blade smoking between 5 and 6 train, creating his team and basically just a tunnel to go through. They're between those trains towards Quad, and Waylander being the one coming up big. I think he got 3 kills there, and basically single-handedly just won a lot of that round. And now it's going to be 9-7, and the lead of Flipside building up. NaVi, however, they have invested into this round. They have a scout on Flaming. Some upgraded pistols too.
Well, I've learned not to underestimate anyone with a deagle on this team as well, especially Guardian. This guy is a bit filthy with it, but as a Simple, apparently that's 2 already. That's 3. That's sexy CS from Simple right there. Can he make it 4? Of course he can. Takes the time. Markelov's head gets ripped off. That is sick stuff from Simple. That's the firepower he brings to this lineup, and they just throw that round on its head.
I take back my words on the frustrating in the first half. I'm pretty sure that's even more frustrating.
Oh, it's sick. It's goddamn sick.
Guy might be toxic, but he can hit some really nice shots.
Hey, you know, he's just working on it.
Definitely
it's okay.
is. He's getting.
Waylander's back with a revolver.
He's getting there.
It's gonna be fine.
Yep.
Please get a kill with it.
No,
Like, it's all I need in this game, and I'll be so
It's
happy.
just a Spider-Man. All right.
How depressing is it if you get a skin for an R8? You know what I mean? It's like,
How deep in the waters are you with your life?
you don't even want to know at this point. All right, Waylander, what can you do? I believe. Come on. Just find an angle and make it work. Great. Really enjoyable. Okay, Flamey's just had enough of this nonsense. Blade's actually going to punish him, but they should be able to pick up the M4 and keep that into play. Sharon not going to have much of a shot. No, tell a lie. Okay, finds Edward as well. They can still upgrade all the lost rifles at this point, which they should be able to do. Seized? Nope, Seized missed it. That's fine. They still got money enough. Not perfect, though, for NaVi, but still, they bring themselves back into it after that ridiculous deagle round, of course.
Of course.
And pick up the next. It's just NaVi things. Like
well, this is a game of ridiculous. Everything so far. Well, not everything, but basically NaVi's most of their rounds were through ridiculous stuff. And situations where they definitely were not favored. Now, as you can see, Flipside decides to force into this, and it's going to be a Tech 9 and then a Galil and 3 AKs. They do have quite a bit of utility here, but I hope they have some kind of a game plan into this. So far, it seems like it's going to be sort of a default, though. A smoke between 5 and 6 is being thrown out. That might initiate a bit of a push here from teammate.
Yeah, they are going to be pushing through. Simple's to be the one on first contact almost there, but he gets traded out 1-for-1, but he spots out the game plan. Didn't see the bomb yet, though, so still maybe not going to fully commit, but they're having a good read into it. Guardian's getting a little bit curious. Going to take a little bit of a look back towards B while working his way around through CT. So he'll be coming back up towards the back by Ivy, maybe. And Flipside taking the time here, looking to see if they can punish any over-aggression coming out maybe from NaVi, but NaVi not really playing into that, hunkering themselves down.
Exactly, they're just waiting for Flipside to run into their crosshairs. And, well, utility, there's none for Flipside anymore, so they can't block off any of the entry points anymore. Cease with a nice kill with a Mac 10. Guardian also, before Markelov manages to get a retaliation, but seems to be a little bit too little too late, as Edward gets the last kill. It's going to be 3-year live for NaVi as well, so at least they will have money to drop to each other and have a healthy buy into this and still save some money as well. Yeah. On the contrary, Flipside, they will have to save.
Yeah, Flipside not looking so good in this one just yet. You know, again, they did well in the opening there. They got into sight almost. They almost died to pressure, And then
I'm not sure that was a necessary risk of a bind in that round. I mean, they could have easily just saved another one and then just get full equipment, get the op out, get everything going for you. But you know, they tried, like, they wanted to break NaVi's economy, which was actually in a decent position at that point too. So they wouldn't be able to reset or anything on NaVi's side.
Maybe a little needless. Instead, C's gonna be taking the open fight. He can pretty much stand this. This could be an issue. They're gonna have to back in, play a little calmer. However, the molly will allow him time to go to not, deal with too many at once, which is always nice. It does mean that the likes of Markov can't do anything.
Has an alright.
It's gonna work.
Relentless.
It's gonna work. It will work.
I'm not sure if it's great if it works once out of 15 times though.
Shut up.
There we go.
There it is.
It's a
That's all
headshot.
I've ever wanted to see. C's is going to be tilted off the face of the earth. He'll no longer want to play. He's going to quit the game, and he'll be fine. And then finally, Flipside will do something. No, it's... I don't know why he's running it. I don't know.
Because he can.
Is it... I don't know why you pick it over Deagle, though. That's the thing. Like, it doesn't actually make logical sense, but...
Not a lot of things to do in this world, Lauren.
I'm working that out. Slowly but surely. But now we are at least going to see Flipside on a decent buy, but... Look on the other side of things. We've got 2 ops going out and still flaming on an SMG there. Kind of curious as to what's going on in that one, but...
This is going to be tough. Like, this is right here, right now, where Flipside needs to start making things work. There's an MP7 in hands of Flamey, though. And he has a very aggressive stance right now in Alley. It seems like it's going to be another default here coming in from Flipside. That one is holding Alley. Seems like it's Markelov. One in team main and 2 working inner bomb site. Wait, well, there's a stack in the middle that Cease is going to be the one getting the opening kill.
Yeah, how did Cease get away with that? I actually don't understand. Guardian was so open then. I don't know how he didn't die in that situation. I don't know, but still. Coming back to that, I can imagine in a moment. Well did it. Has stepped out, does find Edward trying to take a quick pick towards Connector. They're not going to find much more than that. And the double op still into play for NaVi. They still have this to pull in.
And again, no smokes for Flipside to work with anymore. Only have 2 Molotovs and 2 flashes. Now Blade just going to be walking out here. E-Box is going to spot one in tower, but simple. Just going to outclass Blade at this point.
Well, that's what you get for buying an SMG. His teammates could have dropped him out there, bearing in mind. It wasn't just, they were completely out of cash. They had money on that sort of factor. So, interesting choice to go for. And now, Marklov's actually made a bit of work out of this. He's found Simple here. And now we're down to the last 2 players. They are the ones with the AWP. So, could be maybe a little bit tricky to play on the retake, but the bomb's not yet even come in. 25 seconds. Well, you got to get your running shoes on, buddy. This is going to be tough. If they can cost them a little bit of time, cause a bit of a hiccup, this could still be very competitive, and Guardian understands what happens. What a sick adjustment from him. You've almost got to believe he's going to hit those shots on the way through, but now it's C's left in the 1v1 against Waylander. 10 seconds remain. C's just needs to play the time, and he knows it. Waylander committing on the plant, going to try and catch him, and Waylander just about pulls it off with 2 HP.
Again, nonsense happening on the server, but this time it's going to be Flipside that's in favor of that nonsense. Somehow he's not able to win that one-on-one, but a great play from Guardian again, once again, by the way. Just getting that kill on the guy who was jumping on 5 train. And then it seemed like it could have been all over at that point, but Waylander managing to clutch it in the end. Somehow Flipside grinded out, but still money on Navi's side, so they're good. Thing is, Flipside, if they lose this one here, they're going to be in plenty of trouble, but Rolled at it doesn't agree with this theory. Instead, he's going to win that first battle with Guardian.
That's great for him. Finally getting a good start for them early into this, and what a man to remove. And oh, C's, if only he knew. He's going to hear this, though. He's got to know now, and now it's the 1-for-1 trade out. The bomb's going to quickly try and, I guess, press the issue, let's say. Flipside instantly pulled players over. They've got the 3v1 at the moment. Flamey's very much alone. Going to try and buy time for the likes of Simple to pull himself over, and here he is. Already finds one. That was, I believe, well done. He caught. Now Flamey takes a fight, and he wins it too. This is going well for NaVi. Again, putting this back into their favor, and Marklov's found some room to operate, though. Almost created an opportunity, and he whiffs it. Well, should I say, Edward hits an absolute blinder as well. And these rounds are playing out in a very strange manner on occasion, as now Blade's left in the 1v3. It's possible, don't get me wrong. He has a good chance to get the bomb down and pick a decent angle, but he obviously doesn't know how much freedom he has just yet.
Yeah, well, the thing is he needs to try to create 2 individual one-on-ones to have a chance at this. Flamey is in Z connector. And his teammate's Simple right now going through alley. And Blade just going to be here on the bomb site. Just waiting for anyone to come through the smoke. He now knows that Flamey is in there. Simple's the one to make all the work. Quad, trying to cover every possible angle. It all comes down to timing at this point. If Flame is going to push through connector, no, he's going to go down. And now it becomes a one-on-one. Time's going to be running out.
Yeah, Simple's almost out of time. That bomb is ticking incredibly fast, and it doesn't matter anymore. Blade played that well, very calm. I'm kind of curious that NaVi didn't really pressure that site too much. They cleared everything else, but then kind of left the side to the very last second and then didn't have much of a pinch on it. So again, that retake didn't work out there, but these rounds are so close.
Problem is, when you're coming from two very opposite directions in a 2-on-1 situation, is that it's very hard to trade kills, because if that last remaining T player then just manages to take the right angles, he's going to be able to create those two individual 1-on-1s. And also, the Flamey was so low on HP doesn't help either.
All right. Now we've got NaVi back in this position. Last time around, let's remind ourselves, they did pretty well here. It was actually Simple who got, what was it, 4? If I'm not mistaken. This time, Guardian's going to get met very early on by Wild Edit. And Simple's looking for a retort. He's trying to find a way to get back into this round actively, but he's not going to be given too many opportunities here. You can see Flipside very aware of what they're coming up against, and they should be playing this with an air of caution.
Yeah, well, they are definitely doing that right now. Just waiting for NaVi to make a move. Simple. He's definitely playing with the devil right now. Towards that T main. Blade is in the danger zone. Manages to escape though, and seems like the flip side decides to gather up towards the inner bomb site. Well, before I say that though,
is it happening again? Is it going to happen? Okay, well, he's going to have an incredible task on his hands. If he still wants to pull off this magic, he's got a really nice spot though. Blade's not going to be able to pressure him, so he could maybe get somewhere quite cheeky here. He's picked up a Galil, okay. Any cost is good here for NaVi, let's bear in mind. And it's getting bigger and bigger. He's now got an AK. He's doing well for himself, just going through the motions here. Now down to the 1v3, no kit.
Yeah, he's going to save it.
It's not going to happen. And
I think what he's going to try to do is get some kills here. Try to create a bit of a dent in the flip side's economy. Not able to do that though. World Edit is on point, gets the kill. It's going to be a flip side in the lead here, 12-11. Now NaVi does have the money to buy. So far, great T-half from Flipside. They've been similar to NaVi, managing to come out of situations where they may have not had the advantage. Going into the last 45 seconds of the round, still able to make the big plays.
It is quite curious. We've seen this now on both sides of for the teams, kind of winning rounds in the same fashion that isn't a very traditional way of them being played out. But we'll see if it keeps working for either side at this point, because let's remind ourselves before, NaVi worked out the plan. They made a couple of different things start to work for themselves in the end on their T side, and they can regain the reins here. But so far, for Flipside, this is a really nice start to the matter. This has been a great matchup between these two. This is why people get excited for this matchup, purely because you know it's going to be quite a good game, especially on this map. But no one's watching, absolutely no one's watching Ivy here. NaVi?
Well, Guardian finally gets alerted by that smoke, finally. And the push is coming. There's going to be 3 Flipside players just walking out of it. Now, there's a smoke in the way, though, and there's one in T main and one at ladder. Both go down, and now it's down to the guys in alley.
And they are completely pinned in here. You've got Cease playing from CT. Simple can just face right down if he wants to. You still got Guardian and Edward watching it. They are pinned in with very limited ways to run here. Okay, Simple, are you okay there, buddy? You can land those deagle shots, but you forget there may be 3 players through Ivy. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. If they do die one by one, Flipside can actually do something here, and it's happening again, Natu. I don't understand anymore. This doesn't make sense. It hurts my head at this point, because we're down to this 3-on-3. It shouldn't have gone this way. Simple's positioning was a little out of touch. Edward got caught out individually, unable to trade back in. It's given a certain shot here for Flipside.
These rounds are very weird right now. Markelov also getting a kill. Flamey finally manages to return a favor before Markelov again. The trade's going away Flipside. The bomb is going down. Now Guardian, they have no idea where he is. Markelov's barrel has been seen as a wall.
Oh, Guardian, as if you're going to do that. As if you're going to do it. You almost lose the round, and then you have to go to these lengths to pull it back in line. Again, the way these rounds are playing out is going from one hand to the other and back again and back again. You don't know who's going to actually win it until it comes down to that last final moment. And this sort of thing, you know what I mean? Like, Guardian is just such a beast.
Just CSGO things. What a nice round from Guardian, though.
Yeah.
Just Guardian things as well. And now, though, has to remember, though, that NaVi is going to be in a lot of stress when it comes to their economy. They are really on the cutting edge with the bank. Everything's been spent. That Apple Guardian, though. And they have FAMAS seized. Rest with the M4s. And 2 kits. Let's see how they make it work. Flipside once again, just starting out slow here. Going for the picks. probably going to lose 2 members and then win a 3-on-5.
Yeah. Yep. That's how it works.
At least almost win a 3-on-5.
It is baffling how backwards this is. It's very rare you see if you lose out on the first player that teams win the round off the back of it, let alone 2. It's very rare. You can actually see the stats yourselves. If you go on HLTV, look at any team on any map, see their percentage of how many times they win that round when they get that first pick, or vice versa. You can look at it both ways. So again,
it's pretty high actually. I think the percentage is quite high when you have the man advantage in the early round. I'm gonna guess to say it's like 75 to 80%.
I'm gonna, just for argument's sake, I'm going to look up NaVi on train and see what the percentage is, just purely out of curiosity. But this round is quite a slow beginning. These 2 teams are known for this sort of pacing, though. It's not too surprising. 40
seconds on the clock, and now it seems like some smokes and flashes going to Argentina bomb side, but still, it's not going to be clear which way Flipside's going to actually go. Edward getting that kill on the Shara. It's down to 20 HP. Still, they haven't decided Flipside. Blade's been sent out from Team N. He gets a kill. It's going to be a 4-4, but the bomb's going to be making its way towards the inner bomb site. And that's still 2 CTs in there. Seized and Simple, both in there. Make some kills happening. Now to 3-on-2, make it a 3-on-1. With our Lord David behind 3 train.
Not going to get out of that one alive. NaVi do shut it down finally. Keep this one to hand. Start to pull ahead slightly, 13 to 12. And just to clarify, as we said, so for example, whenever NaVi have played train in the last 3 months, the round win percent after getting the first kill for them is 81%. The chance that they lose after receiving the first death, is 27%. So you can see that generally it doesn't ever play out like this. So it's quite fun to watch. 13-12, though, it means that Flipside's money is pretty poor here. Very, very, very poor. Down P250s.
That round was very important. I mean, this could have definitely been a massive, massive loss for NaVi. They lost the previous round, but managed to win it, have 3 alive, and then if they can keep this one here healthy so that they don't lose a lot of members, then that's going to be great for them. On the contrary, though, Flipside's going to have to make a little compromise in the following round. Shard does get a kill. It's going to be at least something. He picks up a weapon, too. I'm not sure if he managed to get it. Flamey with a kill. That's part of Markelov and Will did it.
Edward was just, a little bit of aim training there almost, just kind of flicking between the 2. And good stuff from Flamey, keeping it clean at least. As let's be honest, NaVi's money isn't completely stable. They can certainly spread the wealth here, but
now they have a buffer. Even if they lost one round, they could buy at least fairly well into the following round. And they're sitting at 14-12 as well. On the other hand, Flipside, if they lose this, they'll have to go into a potential match point with very limited stuff. So this one is a very key round here for this match.
See how they go about this one. You've got Waylander, Shara, and Wild Edit already posturing towards the B side of things, and Seized waiting down below. He's the one, of course, just leering towards them. If only you knew. Flash is going to allow the crosses to come through from the T side, but it's Guardian to find Markelov to kick things off. But that means nothing in this matchup, let's bear in mind. Both teams have lost advantageous situations at this point, but it looks like Flipside do want to take themselves towards B. The 4 players now pulling through. You've got Waylander and Shara already starting to come out as well. And Flamey's got support there, though he's not alone. That's Seized behind him as well. Seized catches out Shara, but Waylander still stands.
Yeah, he's playing with the idea of pushing through that one train. No, he's actually going to just stay behind it, and the bomb's going to be making its way towards the bomb side. And the problem is that Zeez is still there with that op, but he's not going to be in time to try and block the plant. It's going to go down, and 4-3 advantage for NaVi.
See if Zeez can find something back here. Or further, should I say, for himself. Waylander's got a nice cross position, needs to land the shots. I don't know if it's a one and done. It is in the end. Simple's going to find him very swiftly. Leaving 3 now for NaVi to play into this one. Guardian's found well at it, and Blade now left in a 1v2. Bombs planted. Pretty well for him at the moment. There's still a lot to be played for here. He catches C's pretty low, 7 HP on him. And now, there is a smoke on Guardian. This could be the issue, and Guardian is using one already in the smoke, diffusing fully. The tag came in, but nothing to follow it through in the end. And NaVi will put themselves on towards map point here. 15-12 in a very good spot. Their money, as you said, quite robust. They can rebuy fully into whatever they want. But for Flipside, they've got enough to scrape together a buy, but maybe lacking that maybe AWP they'd like, or the mollies as well. These sort of things are going to be missing here.
Yeah, the bomb plant does help a little bit, so they will have quite a bit of smokes here and AKs across the board. So it is a relatively healthy buy. But we have a auto-sniper on Flamey and 2 ops in play for NaVi. So this is going to be tough to make any entries happen here for Flipside.
Yeah, if it wasn't tough enough before, it certainly is now. Flamey's going to push himself forward, just trying to find stuff. He's I don't know what to say about him with this gun. You know he's certainly capable with it. That's the worrying thing. But NaVi actively looking for work here. Considering the Caesar's pushed up towards those halls, he knows that no one's coming that way yet. It could be later into the round, but for now he knows it's secure. So NaVi are just trying to find the best positions here on towards this side.
Things start out very slow once again.
What a surprise.
It is a shocker, isn't it? I thought they'd be explosive, but no. They actually try to play slowly. Flamey, waiting for someone to come out of team A. There was actually 2 Ts there. Waylander does win a battle against Seized, who had an AWP as well. So that is going to be the opening kill. I said it's going to be tough to create opening kills, but sometimes Flipside do make it happen, and Waylander has made his way down lower ramp. But as we can see, the bomb is nowhere near it, though.
And this is the issue. As soon as we saw Seized go down, it means that there's that threat of B now being open. It could be a threat. NaVi've had to respond to it, but that's not where the bomb's going. It's where Guardian and Simple are watching. That's where the hit's going to come in with Shara and Blade. Now Shara's found one, but Simple's got the spray down, catching out both of them. Bomb now goes loose, and there you have it. In the end, NaVi just shut the door on Flipside's face. It did look like there was a chance of a very competitive game between these two, but eventually it just spiraled into NaVi's hands.
I think there's only a couple of things to be said about this game. Championship level teams. This is the kind of difference they have. They have individuals that they could take them in from very difficult situations, and that's exactly what happened for NaVi, because they were in so many situations, definitely didn't have the advantage, and still managing to scrape through.
And this is the thing we were saying quite often, how, let's say Flipside would lose like a 5v3, or they'd be in such a good spot and then just let it fall away from them. There's things that you can't account for, right? Which is like your Simple going off, right? You can't.
Guardian winning that one on too.
Exactly. Things like that you can't account for. But the rounds that will probably frustrate these guys will be the ones where they have, the upper hand, the advantage, and they let it slip away. So again, lots to be looked at here.
Exactly. Yeah, that's, like I said, it is championship level teams. That's what they can do.
All right, guys, that's enough from us. Let's hear from the desk and see what they have to say.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, lots to be looked at indeed there. It seemed like it took NaVi a long time to get firing in that first half. Yanko, Flipside shut the door in their face multiple rounds in a row.
Yeah, they were winning a lot of crucial rounds early on, obviously winning pistol, and then, after NaVi would win a gun round, they would immediately win the next round, resetting their money system pretty much. And NaVi was forced to on a lot of weak buys, right? Not optimals. Sometimes Guardian wouldn't have the AWP. They had to play with Tech 9s and so on, which obviously makes it a lot easier for Flipside to defend. But it was, I think, 7-2 the score was, and then Flipside loses one of those crucial rounds when they had a 5v3 advantage, as Natu and Pansy just pointed out, and that really brought the game back for NaVi. They were able to string a couple of rounds together with Flipside forced to eco, and it's just amazing how NaVi can always bring it back on the T side.
Yeah, they're extremely explosive in that regard, but I have to give credit to Flipside in a lot of ways as well. As you said, they got pistols, they were holding on quite well, and I think in individual perspectives, Markelov, good game from him. I think he was I think he was close to 24 or well into the 20s either way. Overall, decent second half as well. And Blade winning that 1 versus 2. We always talk about how smart he is, but we normally talk about it being sort of the chess master rather than the individual player. That kind of smart, you know what I mean? He's not always the individual. So to win that 1 versus 2, baiting out the time, forcing Simple away from the bomb, that was very well done. And again, it was a crucial round. You have to think what would happen, though, if they didn't walk into a Deagle 4K in the second half, though.
Yeah, it wasn't a great story going to the second half there for Flipside. It seems like they lacked penetrating power onto these sites. They had an overwhelming preference to go A in general. A lot of the default rounds ended up with them eventually sort of working on towards that A site here as well. I mean, is that worth reading into at all, that preference towards A? Because they were shut down quite heavily there as well by, obviously, the players with the Orbs in hand and Deagles.
I think what shut it down the most was that second round, in a sense that, they won the second pistol. Now they're off to a great start. They can get the strong economy going, and then they can show their full potential, right, with all the grenades to work with on the T side. But this round for Simple, that's what we were talking about in the pregame. This is the luxury that NaVi has at times, right? Just having their individual players go ham. Guardian here as well, who's had a pretty quiet game for his standards in the second half. Up until that round, I think he only had 2 kills. So after a couple of rounds like that, NaVi was pretty much, in full control.
Yeah, that's just a general point to make as well. It kind of masks, like we always see a good first half. Like let's say someone has like 18 kills in the 12th round or something. Sure. We always see it directly on the scoreboard, and we're like, wow, that's incredible. You don't often see the same kind of thing highlighted in the second half because all the numbers are kind of even. I think on the HLTV scoreboard, it's kind of a weird way because of the ESEA config where it resets the kill
the
totals
half,
on that
yeah.
at half. Yeah, even though it doesn't on the scoreboard in game, it does for the scorebot, the way eBot collects the totals or whatever system they're using right now. I think Simple had 16 kills when they were on 13 rounds, and the next closest on his team was like 8. So he was actually stepping up huge after he got rolling on that second half.
So a tale of two teams that know each other quite well now, linked through these custom maps we're seeing come out at the moment. I mean, we're going to be moving on to Overpass in a second as well. We're going to dive into that after the break as well. But if you guys are just joining us and you may be wondering what happened earlier on in the day, or maybe even the NA scene overnight, if you're in Europe, you can get all the information up on the Score esports app. Exactly, I was mildly alluding to it. I've got the national pride sort of brimming over, but I'm trying to keep it under wraps. Get your hands on that app, ladies and gentlemen, on your Android or on your iOS devices. You go to respective app stores, you can download it quite easily for free, and you can keep up to date with all the happenings in esports, especially the ESL Pro League. We're going to be back after the break with another very interesting match for these two teams. It is going to be Overpass, one that we've seen a lot from both of these guys on. Let's see how they stack up against each other tonight. We're back soon.